Millionaire handed $1 to the girl selling candy. "You remind me so much of my father." He spun, stood still, heart racing. "Before we plunge into the tale, share a comment below and reveal your location. Immerse yourself in the tale." The autumn breeze rushed through Manhattan's financial district, scattering leaves like forgotten dreams across the cold concrete. Jonathan Reed stepped out of the shimmering glass tower of Reed Investments, adjusting his custom Armani tie while the doorman offered a respectful nod. At 42, Jonathan possessed it all: a penthouse with a view of Central Park, a fleet of vintage cars, and a fearsome reputation as Wall Street's top investor. Yet, a void lingered. It ate away at him in silence, a void no possession could ever satisfy. "The Norton merger is done, sir," his assistant panted, rushing after him with a leather portfolio in hand. "The board is captive. Early estimates reveal a staggering 30% return." Jonathan's nod was almost imperceptible. One more deal, one more billion. The thrill of the numbers faded long ago. "Your car is ready," the assistant said, pointing to the sleek black Mercedes waiting at the curb. In that moment, she captured his attention. A lone silhouette by a cardboard table on the sidewalk, auburn hair glinting in the afternoon sun. A tiny girl, barely 6, meticulously placing her homemade delights. Her presence halted him, a force he couldn't ignore. "I'll walk," Jonathan declared, brushing off his stunned assistant with a flick of his hand. She glanced up as he drew near. Her hazel eyes, flecked with gold, stirred a haunting sense of recognition. "Hello, mister," she whispered, her voice fragile yet piercing. "Care for a cookie? Incredible quality for just $1." Jonathan gazed at her worn table, the hand-lettered sign pulling him in. Warm, sweet, and irresistible. "Save my grandma. She needs to heal," he asked, kneeling before her, his expensive suit contrasting with the raw intensity of the moment. "Lily Anderson," she said, standing tall. "My grandma showed me the art of baking, but now she's unwell, and I'm stepping in to help." "That's very brave," Jonathan said, a strange pressure gripping his chest. "I'll take every last one." Lily's eyes shot open. "Every single one? Seriously?" Jonathan pressed the crisp bills into her hand, and Lily's fingers trembled as they searched her apron pocket. A tiny photograph fell, revealing its image on the sidewalk between them. Jonathan's hand shot out, then halted, caught in a moment of dread. His own face stared back, haunting and familiar. Younger, laughter echoing, his arm wrapped around a stunning woman he'd buried in his mind for almost 10 years. "That's my daddy," Lily said, her voice steady as she reclaimed the photo. "Though I never knew him, Mommy always said he was extraordinary. Before she left this world, she whispered that he would come to our aid one day." She slipped the picture into hiding, heart racing. "Grandma remains unaware of my hidden burden." Jonathan was frozen, trapped in silence. Everything faded, leaving only the small girl with his eyes and his mother's auburn hair. "Thank you for buying my cookies," Lily said, her hands trembling as she clutched her earnings. "Grandma's joy will be boundless." A tear fell from Jonathan's eye as the weight of the truth hit him hard. She was his everything. Jonathan lingered in his penthouse, haunted by memories he thought he'd buried. The city lights flickered outside his windows, yet all he could see were the haunting shadows of a decade past. Just the thought of Caroline Anderson clenched his heart. It all began at a university fundraiser. He was on the brink of greatness, a passionate English literature professor. She dreams of crafting enchanting children's books. Her laughter pierced the silence. The hollow words pulled him in, an irresistible force. "Investments," she had replied, her eyes narrowing as he detailed his job. "You're shaping what lies ahead." For 6 months, they built a universe of their own. Weekend escapes to tiny coastal gems, deep conversations about her cherished books, culinary mishaps in his lonely bachelor pad. Caroline stirred to life, a deep yearning for simplicity, for bonds that transcend mere exchanges. Then the chance in London arrived. An opportunity to launch European ventures, to multiply his fortune in mere years. "Take it," his uncle Harrison had urged at their weekly dinner. "Don't let distraction steal your gift." After his parents' death, Harrison became Jonathan's world, shaping ambition into a sacred creed. His guiding light, his soul kin. His soul kin. Jonathan had confessed. "Caroline is special." Harrison's expression turned steely. Your father was unique as well. That's how he ended up broke, leaving you with nothing but the debt I had to settle. His last night with Caroline haunted him anew. In her tiny apartment, the air was thick with the intoxicating aroma of jasmine tea. Paris is mine, she whispered, eyes alight with dreams. A fleeting opportunity, yet profoundly impactful. Close to London, yet everything was already set by Harrison. Secret encounters, elite connections, a calculated romance with the heiress of a shipping tycoon. I must prioritize my career, Jonathan told Caroline, his voice heavy with resolve. I must focus entirely on this. Her eyes held a pain that would never leave him. Was this all just a fleeting moment for you? He was gone by morning. Just silence lingered. Only a coward's farewell, accompanied by blooms. 3 calls from her that first week abroad, each unanswered, then nothing. When he stepped back into New York 2 years later, he was sure he had made the right choice. His triumph in Europe solidified his legacy. Harrison brought him to Eleanor, who grasped his world completely. What felt destined shattered in an instant as she walked away, insisting he was incapable of real love. Jonathan's gaze fixed on his phone, the number for Caroline's old university already dialed, heart racing. Did they know anything about her? Concerning their daughter? The weight of that truth. A child. His child. Propelled him into restless strides over the Brazilian hardwood. Lily's face, those haunting eyes, the snapshot. The phone's shrill ring shattered his concentration. Harrison's name lit up the screen. Just checking on tomorrow's board meeting, his uncle said, voice tight with urgency. I need to reschedule, Jonathan cut in, urgency lacing his words. The Singapore investors? A breath held tight. Are you unwell? I can't. Something's happened. What could ever overshadow the Singapore deal? Everything hit Jonathan like a thunderclap. Nothing mattered more than the next deal. I'll tell you tomorrow, he said, cutting off the call before Harrison could object. The night loomed, heavy with unanswered questions that only Caroline could resolve. Caroline vanished, leaving their daughter alone, peddling cookies on a bustling Manhattan street. Morning light pierced through the motorized blinds as Jonathan's alarm blared at 5:30 a.m. For the first time in years, he lay awake, sleep eluding him. The haunting gaze of a little girl lingered in his mind. His dawn. Routine shattered, leaving only emptiness. The clock ticks down, the shake blends perfectly, and the market updates echo from afar. The penthouse, once a symbol of triumph, now loomed empty and frigid. Sir, your appointment is at 8 a.m. Takahashi is confirmed. The assistant's voice crackled through the intercom. Mr. Harrison has called twice already. Cancel everything but the Singapore call, Jonathan replied, startling even himself. He always showed up, never backing down. Another buzz from his phone. Harrison. Jonathan ignored the call, letting it slip into silence. He opened his laptop, fingers flying as he searched for Caroline Anderson, English professor. The search uncovered old academic papers, a faded faculty photo, and a haunting obituary from last year. His stomach plummeted. It was undeniable. Caroline had vanished. Only Lily and Margaret were noted in the obituary, leaving so much unsaid. Silence surrounds his absence. What reason could there possibly be? Fueled by resolve, Jonathan plunged into another search. Margaret Anderson, New York City. A medical fundraising page seized his attention. Help Grandma Margaret fight cancer with a cherished photo of Lily, and a woman whose smile echoes Caroline's. Only $2,000 had been raised of the $150,000 needed. The intercom buzzed once more. Sir, Mr. Harrison waits in the lobby, demanding your presence. Jonathan exhaled heavily. Send him up. Now. Moments later, Harrison Reed entered, flawless in his tailored suit, defying his 70s. The man who raised him shaped his path, his only family since he was 12. Why are we canceling meetings? Harrison's voice cut through the silence, sharp and unyielding. You were specifically requested by the Singaporean. Yesterday, I met someone, Jonathan whispered, his voice heavy with meaning. A young girl, alone, peddling cookies on the bustling Fifth Avenue. Harrison's face betrayed nothing. How does this connect to business? She held a photograph, Harrison, of me and Caroline Anderson. A fleeting spark of recognition and worry flashed across Harrison's face, then vanished. The professor from long ago. What does it matter? She belongs to me. My everything. Harrison sank into the chair, his expression a mask of mystery. You have no way of knowing that. Her gaze mirrors mine, while my mother's locks frame her face. Countless souls in this city share the same fate. Harrison's voice cut through the air. Harrison's voice cut through the air. This reeks of deceit. A mother urges her daughter to pursue a rich man. Caroline is gone, Jonathan said, his voice breaking. Last year, cancer struck. A moment hangs heavy. I'm sorry to hear that, but the truth remains unchanged. I'm sorry to hear that, but the truth remains unchanged. Before you shatter your world for a mere image, seek the truth. Jonathan gazed at the Manhattan skyline. A mix of pride and nostalgia coursing through him, the streets whispering stories of his past. I will uncover the truth. Harrison adjusted his jacket, a moment of tension hanging in the air. You must investigate, silently. Our security team will handle it. No, Jonathan replied with conviction. This matters deeply. Once Harrison departed, vowing to handle the meetings, Jonathan uncovered the address from the fundraising page. A small Brooklyn apartment, a stark contrast to his sprawling Manhattan empire. He shed his business suit for casual clothes, a rare choice, and stepped into the elevator. After 10 long years, the markets faced an unprecedented challenge. Hold on. Something priceless had suddenly entered his world. Jonathan faced the worn brownstone in Brooklyn, a stark contrast to his sleek Manhattan existence. The building stood, a testament to resilience, crumbling yet defiant, mirroring the lives it sheltered. He glanced at the address once more, heart racing. Apartment 3B. Margaret and Lily, bound by blood and secrets. His finger trembled above the buzzer. What would he utter? Hello. I could be your granddaughter's father. It feels unreal. And there he stood. A faint whisper emerged from the shadows. Mr. Cookie Man. Jonathan glanced back to see Lily bounding up the steps, her oversized backpack jostling with each leap. An elderly woman, weary and frail, shuffled behind, her cane a fragile support. Lily told her grandmother, "You're the one who bought all my cookies." He handed me $50. Margaret Anderson's eyes narrowed, suspicion igniting within her. Suspicion igniting within her. That's incredibly generous, she said, her gaze piercing into him. Lily, stay here. I need to talk to him. Lily paused, then let out a resigned sigh. But he's kind, Grandma. She vanished into the shadows of the doorway. Margaret's eyes were locked onto Jonathan's face, filled with unspoken emotion. Who are you, truly? What do you seek from my granddaughter? The bluntness pierced him, a sharp reminder of Caroline. I'm Jonathan Reed. I once knew Caroline, long ago. Recognition flickered in Margaret's eyes, quickly replaced by a steely resolve. Reed. I should have recognized it right away. Her gaze pierced his face. Your eyes mirror mine. I had no idea, Jonathan exclaimed, his voice trembling. Lily's story unfolds with a fierce intensity, capturing hearts in an instant. I promise, I had no idea. Caroline wanted to warn you, Margaret stated coldly. I've tried calling your office over and over. Letters poured from my heart. I stood outside your building, 7 months pregnant, longing for you. The revelation struck him hard, leaving him breathless. No messages ever came to me. I was in London when... He paused, the emptiness of his words hitting him hard. Margaret sighed, her age weighing heavily on her weary face. Does it even matter anymore? Caroline's gone? Forever. Yet, Lily endures. Her hand pointed sharply to the door. Just come up already. The apartment was tiny, yet every corner whispered care. Books crowded every inch of the walls. Caroline's impact is undeniable. Snapshots captured moments he had never lived. Caroline cradles newborn Lily, cherishing first steps, celebrating preschool graduations. Do you have wealth? Lily inquired sharply, perched on a tattered couch with her legs crossed. You showered me with wealth. Lily, Margaret warned, softly yet firmly. It's okay, Jonathan whispered, a smile breaking through the tightness in his chest. Absolutely I am. I navigate the world of investments, fueling financial growth. Can you make Grandma's money flourish? She requires expensive medicine. Margaret's face burned with emotion. Lily, stop now. Mr. Reed's visit isn't about money. Yet Jonathan caught sight of the prescription. Bottles litter the counter. Medical bills, overdue and forgotten, lurk beneath a book's cover. He spoke slowly, a hint of urgency in his voice. I want to help, if you'll allow me. Margaret's face turned to stone. We don't need charity, especially not charity, Jonathan cut in sharply. If Lily is my daughter, then responsibility weighs heavy. He locked eyes with Margaret, his voice barely a whisper. Could it be her? Margaret stared at him, her shoulders sinking as the weight of the moment pressed down. Caroline left you unnamed on the birth certificate, yet her silence echoed loudly. Not a soul either. Her eyes flicked to Lily, who was now sharing her favorite book with Jonathan. Gaze at them together, and share your thoughts. It was striking, impossible to ignore. She was his daughter, and he carried the weight of a lifetime lost. Jonathan waited in his car, heart pounding, thoughts spiraling. The sigh lingered. The afternoon with Lily was a bittersweet blend of joy and heartache. Her drawings unveiled, stories of school flowed, and Caroline's gentle spirit shone through every movement. He departed, a promise lingering in the air, concealing the depth of their bond. Margaret knew they had to tread carefully, all for Lily's well-being. A familiar voice pierced the silence, startling him. Your driver could use a break. Harrison slipped into the passenger seat, his face a mask of mystery. I had you followed. It's standard procedure when a billionaire vanishes, and Jonathan's tension was palpable. That's crossing a line, even for you. It's not just protective, Harrison insisted, especially when I find out you're seeing a child who claims to be your heir. She holds no assertions. She has no idea who I truly am. Harrison's eyebrow shot up. So, what are you really doing here? Unveiling the reality. Jonathan began. The vehicle. I'm undergoing DNA tests. Quietly. Smartly. Harrison nodded. What happens when there's no connection? It will happen. Her hair mirrors my mother's, while my eyes reflect in hers. Coincidences, or meticulously crafted parallels, Harrison interrupted. You've sacrificed too much to be ensnared by such a blatant trap. A mother gone too soon, a frail grandmother, a captivating child. It's all too familiar. Jonathan drove, the silence heavy and suffocating. My help was rejected by the grandmother. She always did. Refusal now leads to greater rewards later. Your cynicism is showing. I'm being realistic, Harrison shot back. I've guarded the Reed fortune for decades. First, let's lay down the facts, then we can dive into the feelings. 3 days later, Jonathan sat alone in his office, the DNA results trembling in his hands. Almost certain, 99.9999% chance of being the father. He gazed at the report, a storm of relief and terror raging inside him. He was a dad. 6 years passed, shrouded in silence. The intercom buzzed, slicing through the silence. Sir, I have what you asked for, his assistant whispered. Messages and calls from a decade past. 7 calls from Caroline, all marked as handled, yet silence lingered in the absence of messages. 3 letters, each bearing her return address, igniting a storm of memories, marked as received, yet never reached him. Who took care of this? Jonathan's voice trembled with tension. Every message during your London assignment flowed through Mr. Harrison's office, following the usual protocol. The betrayal struck hard, a visceral jolt to the heart. Did Harrison intentionally block Caroline from getting to him? Did he know about his child and hide it? The phone rang, shattering the silence. Margaret Anderson, Mr. Reed, her voice trembled with tension. The hospital called. Once more, my insurance has turned me down for the specialized treatment. A stranger arrived, probing into our lives. A private investigator, shrouded in mystery, embarks on a seemingly routine background check for a potential benefactor. But shadows of secrets loom large. Jonathan's fingers clenched around his phone. What was his question? Caroline, Lily, had we reached out to you before yesterday? This was orchestrated by just one individual. The very one who had thwarted Caroline's desperate efforts to connect with him long ago. Thank you for telling me, Jonathan said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'll handle it all. Margaret, I have the test results." The silence stretched on, heavy and suffocating. "I never doubted it," she finally whispered. "Your eyes burn with the same fierce resolve. Caroline called it your greatest strength and deepest flaw." Ending the call, Jonathan's gaze locked onto the photograph of him and Harrison on his desk. Guide, uncle, the man who shaped his world, the man who could have stolen his daughter away. Autumn sunlight poured into the small Brooklyn park as Jonathan sat on a bench, eyes locked on Lily, her legs pumping high on the swings. This was their third encounter since he had acknowledged her lineage, each meticulously orchestrated with Margaret's wary consent. "Hire Mr. Reed," Lily shouted, her auburn hair streaming behind her like a flag of urgency. Jonathan smiled, overwhelmed by the joy her mere presence ignited within him. He had pursued riches for years, but nothing matched the treasure of his daughter's laughter. "Don't go too high," Margaret warned from her bench, her voice laced with concern. Her health had taken a turn for the better since Jonathan secretly organized specialized treatment. Yet fatigue still clung to her like a shadow. He neared the swing, his hands trembling as he offered soft pushes. "Lily, do you enjoy school?" he inquired. "At times, art and reading ignite my soul. Math is a struggle. I can help," he said, his voice steady but laced with urgency. "Numbers and I have a strong connection." Lily glanced over her shoulder at him. For a fleeting moment she imagined him as her savior in the chaos of assignments. "Why was I unaware of you until now? Did you know Mommy well?" Jonathan's heart raced. "Yes," he whispered, his voice barely a breath. "Once in a distant past, before my existence began. Absolutely." Lily nodded, a silent acceptance that spoke volumes. Mommy was surrounded by friends. She spun tales of them, each one a haunting echo of the past. As Lily fed the ducks at the pond, Margaret slipped onto the bench beside him. "She's probing," he whispered. Margaret's head dipped in silent agreement. She never fails to deliver. She's just like Caroline, endlessly curious about it all. What did Caroline reveal to her? Is it really him? Margaret clutched her scarf tightly against the biting wind. He was both kind and smart. He was miles away. That's it. Is there truly no mention of abandonment? What about my ignorance? Caroline held no grudges, sir. Discover. She accepted your decision, holding on to her respect for it. The words pierced him, cutting deep into the truth he thought he knew. He chose his career, blind to the child they had made together, leaving Caroline in the shadows of his ambition. "I've brought something," Jonathan said, revealing a small package from his coat. "If you think it's appropriate." Within lay a children's book, bursting with the wonders of stars and the mysteries of the cosmos. He revealed her deep fascination with the night sky. "And then there's a tiny telescope. Simple, yet profound." Margaret's gaze pierced the gift, heart racing. "It's profound. Your respect for our boundaries means everything." With every glance at Lily, Jonathan felt his heart race, summoning every ounce of bravery he had. "Is the treatment effective?" The doctors hold a flicker of hope. Margaret's gaze pierced through him, laden with unspoken truths. "They appear strangely indifferent to insurance coverage at this moment." "That's wonderful to hear." "And poor Steve, it's wonderful to hear, Mr. Reed," Margaret whispered, her voice trembling. "What is happening? What are your true intentions with Lily?" The question's bluntness called for raw truth. "I long to be woven into her existence. I'm still unraveling how that appears." "What happens when it gets too hard to bear? If your work, nothing else matters," Jonathan interrupted, astonished by the conviction in his voice. Silence, a void, emptiness lingers. Margaret watched him closely, perhaps seeking Caroline's view of this ambitious man who had sacrificed love for his career. "Grandma!" Lily shouted, racing over, clutching a giant maple leaf in her tiny hand. "It's everything." As his daughter laid the vibrant leaf in his palm, Jonathan felt the weight of true perfection. Jonathan's breath hung in the frosty December air, a ghostly white, as he stood outside Lily's elementary school, heart racing. After almost 2 months of careful encounters, their bond had transformed into a haunting familiarity. Math help days fell on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Saturdays ignited the thrill of adventure. Museums, parks, or the thrilling adventure to the planetarium today. The school bell rang, unleashing a torrent of children, a vibrant storm of laughter and chaos. Lily saw him at once, her face glowing as she dashed down the steps. "Mr. Reed, I aced my math test." She shoved a paper at him, her pride burning bright. Jonathan scrutinized the test, his expression heavy with gravity. "Incredible job, Professor Anderson. Your grasp of multiplication is undeniably exceptional." Lily's laughter danced in the air, a secret shared between them. He started calling her professor, captivated by Caroline's academic journey. "Are we still able to gaze at the stars?" She reached for him, her small hand fitting perfectly into his as they moved toward the car. Without a doubt, the planetarium beckons. He fastened her seatbelt, astonished by how swiftly she had welcomed him into her world. In the planetarium's glow, Lily's awe struck Jonathan, awakening a buried truth. In chasing riches, he'd lost the pure thrill of discovery. Her questions flowed relentlessly, her mind soaking up every fact with fervor. She watched the stars flicker to life and fade away, mirroring the fragile journey of humanity, her expression solemn beneath the vast cosmos. "Do they really?" Jonathan nodded, a storm of thoughts swirling within him. A storm of thoughts swirling within him, yet in their existence, they blaze with fierce brilliance. "Just like Mommy," Lily whispered, pressing close to his side. The stark words struck Jonathan like a lightning bolt. Yes, he held his throat tight, "just like your mom." After the planetarium, they paused for hot chocolate at a cozy cafe, warmth enveloping them. Lily added marshmallows to her cup, each one a tiny explosion of sweetness. "Mr. Reed, why haven't you chosen to have children?" she inquired abruptly. Jonathan gasped, nearly spilling his drink. "I've been swamped with work, family slipping away in the chaos." The simple question pierced his soul. He confessed, "I believed I was mistaken." Lily nodded, her expression a mix of understanding and resolve. "Grandma believes work matters, but people matter more. Your grandmother possesses profound wisdom." As he dropped Lily off, Margaret unexpectedly invited him in, a moment charged with unspoken tension. "She can't stop talking about you," Margaret said, her eyes fixed on Lily as she meticulously placed her new constellation chart on the wall. "The planetarium, the math help, everything matters. She's extraordinary," Jonathan whispered, his voice trembling with awe. Caroline's performance was nothing short of extraordinary. "Indeed she did. Christmas is approaching and it's on my mind. Join us for dinner?" Jonathan asked, urgency in his voice, before she could change her mind. Just as he was about to go, Lily dashed over, crayon in hand, sketching stick figures clasping hands under a vast, starry sky. "It's us," she said, her finger trembling as it traced the air. Trembling as it traced the air. "We, together, Grandma, Mommy, and you, shine as a star watching over us all." Jonathan gazed at the drawing, a wave of emotion crashing over him. "Do you feel it?" Lily's voice trembled with doubt. He sank to her height. "It's a breathtaking gift, unlike anything I've ever received." As Jonathan drove home, his eyes flickered to the drawing on the passenger seat, a haunting reminder of what was lost. For the first time as an adult, he discovered what truly mattered, not in boardroom victories or market conquests, but through the profound wisdom of a 6-year-old girl who perceived the universe with a clarity he had never known. A gentle knock at the office door shattered Jonathan's concentration. The clock ticked close to 9 p.m., the Reed Investments building now a hollow shell, deserted for hours. "Come in," he called, anticipation crackling in the air for the arrival of his assistant with the Singapore reports. "Not this time, Margaret." Anderson lingered in the doorway, a stark contrast to the polished corporate scene beyond. She clutched a battered shoebox tightly. "Margaret?" Jonathan sprang to his feet. "Is everything okay?" "Lily, she's okay," Margaret promised him, beside a neighbor, I had to be with you, just us. Jonathan motioned toward the sitting area, distant from his formidable desk. In the 3 months since he found Lily, he and Margaret forged a fragile bond, their mutual love for the child uniting them against all odds. The treatment is working, Margaret said, sinking into the leather sofa. The doctors hold a glimmer of hope. That's wonderful to hear. Margaret set the shoebox down, a silent barrier between them. Christmas arrives in just a week. Lily can't wait to see you. Jonathan's smile flickered, a spark of something deeper lurking beneath. Gifts linger in my mind, each one a pulse of emotion, just something simple. He rushed to say, your rules are etched in my mind. That's one reason I'm here. Margaret's hands clutched the box, a fierce guardian of its secrets. Before you dive deeper into her world, there are truths you must grasp, truths Caroline would want you to see. She opened the box, and dozens of envelopes spilled out, each one bearing Jonathan Reed's name, each a whisper of untold stories. His New York office, his London office, even his old apartment, each a ghost of what once was. She reached out to you. For years, the weight of silence lingered. Margaret chose an envelope. This was everything. The moment she realized she was pregnant, Jonathan grasped it, his hands shaking. The postmark arrived 7 months after his departure for London. Caroline's handwriting lay within, graceful, profound, achingly known. Jonathan, this letter has replayed in my mind countless times. This is hard to express. I'm expecting our child, ours, will be here in February. I understand we've parted ways, and your decision stands. I respect it. I'm here, not to intrude or impose, but to connect. You deserve to know the truth. If you choose to walk away from this child's life, I get it. I'm ready for anything, but if there's a part of you that craves connection with this baby, the door is wide open. Forever. Caroline read Jonathan. It happened twice, his vision blurred, tears threatening to spill. This never reached me, not a single one. I understand that now, Margaret whispered. Caroline held back. She believed you would absorb them in quiet contemplation. What's the point of bringing these now? Margaret chose another, sealed fate, this one, just this one. Caroline penned it in the hospital, just a week before her last breath. She urged me to hold on until I knew your true feelings for Lily. This letter trembles with unsteady strokes. Jonathan, if you see this, I'm no longer here, and you've unexpectedly crossed paths with our daughter. I kept the truth from Lily, buried deep inside. I reached out for you. I thought you didn't want us at all. I just mentioned that her father was miles away. Let her decide who you are. I forgive you, Jonathan. Life's fleeting moments demand we let go of bitterness. If you found Lily and are reading this, I trust you're prepared to be the father she truly deserves. Just love her. That's all I need. Caroline. A single tear traced Jonathan's cheek. She had no idea I would return for them. Absolutely not, Margaret affirmed, yet she clung to the hope that one day you would discover your path to Lily. You truly have. In that instant, enveloped by the long-awaited letters, Jonathan grasped his next move. Christmas blanketed New York in a soft snowfall, turning the city into a breathtaking wonderland. Jonathan gazed from his penthouse window, entranced by the swirling snowflakes outside. In 3 hours, he would be with Lily and Margaret for dinner. After years, he finally felt the magic of Christmas again. The doorbell rang, shattering his concentration. His interior designer stood poised, portfolio clutched tightly. Mr. Reed, I've finished the designs you asked for, she said, laying the drawings out on his dining table. Children's rooms aren't usually my forte. Jonathan studied the designs for what would soon be Lily's room in his penthouse. He had laid out precise orders, walls painted in twilight hues, constellations shimmering above, and shelves brimming with her cherished books. It's flawless, he whispered. When will construction start? Once the festivities fade. 3 weeks, maybe 4. Make it 2, Jonathan said, no matter the price. Once she was gone, he dove back into wrapping Lily's gifts. A children's astronomy book, a handcrafted wooden music box playing Claire de Lune. Margaret recalled it was Caroline's favorite, a silver bracelet adorned with a delicate star charm. Simple, yet profound, just as I vowed. The true treasure, the room, would stay hidden until the perfect time arrived. The phone pierced the silence. Jonathan had distanced himself from his uncle, haunted by the intercepted letters, torn between confrontation and the fear of losing himself. Jonathan, Harrison's voice resonated with its familiar power. Let's talk about year-end bonuses before you vanish for the holidays. The recommendations are approved. Without a word, we can't do that. Times change, Jonathan said, a brief silence hanging in the air. The board sees your distraction. It's time to refocus. The company is thriving like never before. Indeed, but your attention lies in another direction. Harrison's voice cut through the air. Jonathan's body tightened at the sight of the child and her grandmother. My daughter, time spent together, precious and fleeting. The word lingered, a heavy truth finally spoken by Jonathan to Harrison. Certainty eludes you. DNA reveals the truth, Harrison. Jonathan interrupted him sharply. Silence loomed between them, a chasm deeper than any intrusion. At last, Harrison let out a heavy breath. We need to talk face to face. Jonathan ended the call, his response lingering in the air after the holidays. As Jonathan entered Margaret's humble apartment, an unmatchable warmth enveloped him. A small tree sparkled with twinkling lights. Aromas danced in the air, intoxicating and irresistible. In a flash, Lily, clad in a red velvet dress, threw herself into his embrace. You arrived just as you vowed. Absolutely, I did. He unveiled his meticulously wrapped gifts. Wishing you a joyful Christmas, Professor. During dinner, Jonathan was entranced by the pure delight of family chatter. Margaret recounted the poignant tales of Caroline's childhood Christmases. Lily recounted her school's holiday pageant with vivid intensity. With dessert behind them, Jonathan steeled himself. I need to ask you both something important. Margaret and Lily gazed at him, anticipation crackling in the air. I've been readying a room at home for Lily, for visits, maybe weekends too. He faced Margaret. Only if you allow it. A space that belongs solely to me? Lily's eyes filled with shock. Margaret gazed at him, her mind racing. You're getting too close. I am, Jonathan confessed, a weight in his voice, for both of you. Margaret's head dipped, a silent agreement heavy with meaning. Time will tell. Maybe we should check out this room first. It lingered in the air, a hesitant pause between hope and despair. For Jonathan, a lifetime of hard-fought victories, this small opening pulsed with the thrill of his greatest triumph. January's icy winds swept through New York, yet within Reed Investments, the chill was far more profound. Jonathan faced Harrison in the boardroom, tension sparking between them like a live wire. You've missed 4 board meetings, Harrison said, his manicured finger tapping sharply against the polished table, entrusted with vital client connections. Now, this proposal for restructuring. His hand pointed sharply at the document lying between them. Cutting your operational role by 40%. I won't back down, Jonathan said, his voice steady. I'm reshaping my focus to prioritize strategic choices and strengthen the executive team. Everything changed the moment that child came into your life. Lily, Jonathan snapped, his voice icy. Indeed, fatherhood demands your time. Harrison's face was a mask, yet his eyes flickered with a sharp, hidden intent. Have you thought about the impact this will have on the company? For the Reed legacy? I'm forging our future through succession planning. Harrison leaned in, anticipation crackling in the air. For 40 years, I've shielded this family's legacy. After your father's death, burdened by debt, I rose from the ashes and rebuilt it all. Your reckless investments almost destroyed us, but I fought to save our reputation. When Caroline attempted to share news of my child, you cut her off, Jonathan shot back. Was that also about safeguarding family ties? Harrison chose not to quiver. You were shaping our future in Europe. An unexpected pregnancy from an ex could shatter it all. You had no right to decide that. It was my choice, and I own it. Harrison's voice held a steady calm, yet beneath it simmered a storm of reason. Fatherhood caught you off guard. Ambition was all you knew. He hesitated. 10 years ago, Jonathan was a man driven by ambition, ready to forsake personal ties for the sake of his career. People change, Jonathan finally whispered. Do they really? Harrison's gaze pierced through him. Or do they momentarily stray from who they really are? This feeling won't last, Jonathan. Your stance here could be drastically compromised when that happens. Once Harrison was gone, Jonathan remained, grappling with the weight of his uncle's veiled menace. His phone buzzed, a message from Margaret lighting up the screen. Lily's science presentation unfolds today. She's desperate for you to be there. Lily stood outside her classroom, heart racing, anxiety gripping her tightly. Jonathan had promised to come, yet each passing minute deepened the silence of his absence. Her classmates' parents arrived, settling into their seats, anticipation hanging in the air for the presentations. "Are you prepared, Lily?" Her teacher's voice was gentle, yet it carried an unspoken weight. "Go ahead, you first." Lily's eyes darted to the door again. "Just one more minute, please. Mine." Mr. Reed promised he would make an effort to come. With a nod from her teacher, a familiar figure burst into the doorway, breathless and urgent. "Sorry I'm late," Jonathan whispered, sliding into the back row, breathless. Gridlock. Lily's face ignited with joy. With newfound confidence, she delivered her presentation on the solar system, her pride shining as she pointed to the model she and Jonathan had crafted together. As they approached his car, Lily buzzed with excitement, her words tumbling out about her teacher's praise. "You are incredible, Professor," Jonathan said, his voice thick with admiration. "A seeker of nature's truths." "You really came," Lily whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "I made a promise, didn't I?" Lily's gaze fell to the sidewalk. "Daddy couldn't come to Mommy's important things," she whispered. "Once Grandma whispered that to me." The offhand remark struck Jonathan like a lightning bolt of clarity. Lily clung to the idea of her unknown father and Mr. Reed as two distinct souls. Truth loomed near, but he had to ensure their delicate bond remained unbroken, especially against Harrison. For Jonathan Reed, a man shaped by boardrooms and billion-dollar deals, the call at 2 a.m. shattered his world. "It's Margaret," the voice trembled, heavy with unspoken weight. Here I stand, Mount Sinai looming before me. Complications emerged, leaving everyone on edge. Her voice shattered. "I need someone by Lily's side." Jonathan's hand shot out for his keys, urgency pulsing through him. "I'll arrive in 20 minutes. In the 5 months since he found his daughter, an unspoken bond had formed between him and Margaret. Now, they were intertwined, united by their love for Lily. Margaret's voice trembled as she reached out for him, a desperate plea echoing in the silence. He stepped into the apartment, guided by a neighbor's silent nod. Lily slept soundly, her face serene, oblivious to the midnight ambulance ride that carried her grandmother away. "Mr. Reed?" Lily's drowsy whisper pierced the silence from the bedroom doorway as he sank onto the couch. She held her beloved stuffed star tightly, hair a wild mess from sleep. "Hey there, Professor," he whispered softly. "Your grandma was rushed to the hospital for urgent tests. She begged me to remain by your side." Lily's eyes flashed with sudden realization. Will she meet the same fate as Mommy? The question pierced his soul. "Absolutely not, darling. She's receiving medicine that promises relief. Do you swear it?" Her voice quivered. "I vow to always speak the truth," he replied, his voice steady yet charged. "The doctors are fighting with all their might." Lily nodded, then shocked him by leaping onto the couch beside him. "Will you stay with me until dawn?" "I'm here to stay," he promised, his eyes locked onto hers. As dawn broke, Lily drifted back into slumber, nestled against his shoulder. Jonathan dialed numbers, shifted plans, and ensured Margaret's doctors reported straight to him. As Lily stirred awake, the smell of pancakes filled the air. His first attempt in years. Slightly burnt, but filled with hope. Lily resolved at breakfast to bring Grandma her favorite book. It lifts her spirits. They gathered a tiny hospital's worth of essentials: Margaret's reading glasses, her soothing hand lotion, and the book Lily swore would make a difference. In the hospital, Margaret lay pale yet alert, her eyes igniting with joy at Lily's arrival. "My sweet girl," she breathed, arms wide open. As Lily revealed their treasures to Margaret, Jonathan engaged in urgent conversation with the doctors in the hallway. The outlook was uncertain. The cancer was retreating, but the medications were taking a toll on Margaret's heart. "She craves peace." The oncologist stressed minimal stress, 2 weeks to heal. As Jonathan stepped back into the room, Margaret's gaze pulled him in, an unspoken urgency in the air. "They want me to stay here for a bit," she whispered. "Lily, please, stay with me," Jonathan urged. "I've set up a room for her. Don't forget." "I've set up a room for her. Don't forget." Margaret's eyes shimmered with doubt. "It's happening quicker than I thought," she confessed. I craved just a moment longer to help her find the words. I get it, Jonathan replied. But we'll face this together, step by step. That night, as Margaret slept, Jonathan whisked Lily away to his penthouse. Her breath caught as the elevator doors slid open, revealing his world. Is this your home? She inquired, her gaze sweeping across the vast expanse. I have something to reveal to you. He guided her through the dim corridor, pausing before a door adorned with shimmering stars. This is yours, for visits, or whenever you seek refuge. He opened the door, unveiling a sanctuary crafted for her. Twilight blue walls, a constellation ceiling, shelves brimming with stories, and a window seat gazing out at the park. Lily froze in the doorway, then faced him, tears brimming in her eyes. You created this for me? Is this truly for me? Truly? Only for you, he confirmed, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. Welcome back, Lily. 2 weeks turned into 3. Each day a battle for Margaret as her recovery dragged on. Lily found her rhythm in Jonathan's penthouse, sharing breakfast before school, tackling homework at his desk while he worked close by, and whispers of dreams under her radiant starry sky. Jonathan enlisted Mrs. Chen, a warm, grandmotherly housekeeper, to cook and care for the children when meetings clashed. He chose to be there, reshaping his whole career for school pickups and dinner moments. Today was unforgettable. Margaret was finally returning home, and together they had made a choice during his hospital visits. It was time for Lily to face the storm, to uncover the truth. Is Grandma's room prepared? Lily asked, her hands trembling as she arranged fresh flowers in a vase, each petal a whisper of her heart. The penthouse guest suite awaited Margaret, a sanctuary for her fragile healing. Absolutely perfect, Jonathan promised her. She'll be captivated by your floral arrangement. As Margaret arrived, her steps measured with a walker, Lily dashed forward, wrapping her arms around her, careful of the delicate frame of her grandmother. Lily's voice trembled. We've missed you. I've been looking after Mr. Reed. Jonathan chuckled at his cluelessness in sorting laundry. It's real. Your ability to organize scientifically has been crucial. Once Margaret was settled in the living room, Jonathan gave her a subtle nod. She mirrored the gesture. The moment had arrived. Lily, Jonathan. He took a seat next to her on the sofa. We need to discuss something crucial. Lily's gaze shifted between them, a weight settling in her expression. Is Grandma unwell once more? No, darling, Margaret promised her. This speaks of another matter entirely. There's a spark in you. And Mr. Reed? Jonathan inhaled sharply. Lily, do you recall that haunting photograph you shared with me? The moment our eyes locked over those cookies, Lily nodded, and everything changed. Mommy's photo alongside Daddy. That man in the picture, Jonathan whispered, is me. Silence enveloped the room. Lily's eyes widened, flickering between his face and the haunting photograph. You're everything. Where's my daddy? She whispered at last. Absolutely, Jonathan's voice trembled. I exist. Yet you never arrived. Mommy whispered that Daddy was far away. Margaret leaned in, heart racing. He was oblivious to your existence, Lily. She tried to reach him, but the words faded away. That day with your cookies, I saw you, and everything changed, Jonathan said. I've fought hard to become the father you truly deserve. Lily's brow tightened, grappling with the weight of this revelation. Is that why you created a space for me? Can you assist me with my homework? Absolutely. I love you deeply, but you never knew me before, Lily whispered, her voice barely audible. I didn't, Jonathan confessed, his voice barely a whisper. I'm deeply sorry for every moment I lost. If only I had known you, Lily, I would have stood by your side from the start. Lily pondered this deeply, her young mind wrestling with thoughts far beyond her years. Grandma, did you know he was my father? Yes, my love. Your mother shared it with me. Did he make you angry? Margaret's smile was soft, yet it held a world of emotion. For a moment. But then I realized the depth of his feelings for you. Lily faced Jonathan, her gaze a storm of hidden emotions. With the innocence of youth, she posed the question that weighed heavily on her heart. If you're my daddy, can I call you Dad instead of Mr. Reed now? Jonathan's eyes welled up with tears. Nothing could bring me more joy. Lily nodded, then climbed onto his lap, arms tightening around his neck. I always wanted a dad," she whispered, her voice trembling against his shoulder. Snow fell slowly over Manhattan, draping the city in a shroud of white wonder. A family, unconventional and newly formed, stood on the brink of healing, their first step trembling with hope. February ignited warmth and fresh beats in the Reed household. The shift was anything but seamless. Lily felt the sharp sting of confusion, tears spilling for her mother. Yet, she welcomed Jonathan into her heart as a father, with astonishing warmth. Margaret's recovery unfolded, her very presence a beacon of stability amid the chaos of change. For Jonathan, fatherhood reshaped everything he knew. Board meetings clashed with school events, business trips were cut short or handed off. His phone was filled with more images of science projects and ballet poses than stock charts. "Daddy, look!" Lily exclaimed from the breakfast table, her eyes wide as she focused on her math worksheet. I uncovered the pattern, and Jonathan's smile lit up at the fresh term of endearment. "Outstanding Job, Professor. You have an instinct for patterns." Margaret watched from her window seat, each day bringing her closer to strength. Caroline always claimed you could spot the ties that eluded everyone else. Caroline's name stirred a deep, haunting pain. Jonathan couldn't shake the thought of her reaction to their co-parenting setup, to his late arrival in Lily's world. His phone vibrated, a jolt of urgency cutting through the silence. Harrison, once more. Since Jonathan's shake-up at the company, his uncle's silence had been unsettling. Now he demanded a private meeting. Harrison's text urged, "Let's talk about the Singapore expansion and other family struggles." Jonathan paused, heart racing. Harrison remained his business partner, the last link to the family he had known before Lily. He had to confront the intercepted letters to uncover why Harrison had kept him away from his daughter. He texted, "I'll be there," just after leaving Lily at ballet. Jonathan rushed to his lawyers, heart pounding, to seal the fate of a new family. Lily was his by blood, yet legally. She was a stranger. He was determined to change that. "All seems well," the attorney assured. "With Ms. Anderson's backing and the DNA confirmation, everything is set to unfold seamlessly." Jonathan sensed a burden release. Soon, Lily would be a Reed, legally bound to the words that defined her. He scooped her up from ballet, reveling in her excited display of new steps in the car. At home, Margaret caught a glimpse of Lily's exhaustion during dinner. "Are you okay, my love?" "What's wrong?" she inquired, watching Lily push her food aimlessly. Lily confessed, "My tummy feels strange, and I'm so tired." Jonathan pressed his hand to her forehead. "No fever. Perhaps exhaustion from ballet is weighing you down." By bedtime, Lily appeared improved after her warm bath, yet a lingering silence enveloped her. With a final glance at her peaceful face, Jonathan steeled himself for the confrontation with Harrison. "You really don't mind staying with her?" he pressed, eyes searching Margaret's. "Absolutely not," she promised him. "Mrs. Chen is here. Go take care of it." Harrison picked a secluded restaurant in Tribeca, a haven for power brokers seeking discretion. He stood tall as Jonathan neared the table, embodying the patriarch he believed himself to be. "You look good, Harrison," she noted. "Parenthood embraces you." "It does," Jonathan said, settling into his chair. They ordered drinks, trading hollow pleasantries cloaked in business talk. At last, Harrison dropped a folder onto the table. "I've been reflecting." He spoke of our corporate structure. "Your reorganizations resonate deeply." "They truly make sense. I shouldn't have fought against them." Jonathan's eyebrows shot up, disbelief flickering across his face. "You've created backups, fortified the leadership." Harrison pressed on. "The company remains strong when you pause for intimate struggles." "I'm relieved you finally understand." Harrison swirled his bourbon, lost in a storm of thoughts. "Family ties can be a tangled web, Jonathan. To shield someone, you may have to choose the hardest paths for their sake." Jonathan intercepted Caroline's letters, his voice steady, masking the fury boiling just beneath the surface. "Maybe not, but think about where you'd stand if I hadn't stepped in." A young father fights against the weight of unpreparedness, his dreams shattered, resentment boiling beneath the surface. Just as Jonathan opened his mouth, the phone blared to life. Margaret's fate. He responded without hesitation. "Jonathan," her voice trembled with anxiety. "Lily's, struck down by a fierce fever, relentless vomiting. It hit like a storm." "I'm coming," he declared, already on his feet. Harrison stood up as well. The child is unwell. Lily, it's Lily, Jonathan snapped, tossing cash onto the table. She's unwell. Harrison's fleeting look, a blend of cunning and worry, ignited a spark of doubt in Jonathan's mind. He recognized that look. It was the same one that surfaced when deals turned sinister. You know, Jonathan said, his voice heavy, this is the second time Lily's fallen ill without warning. It happened right after your visit to the penthouse last week, to deliver the documents. Harrison's expression was a mask of stillness. Are you really implying? I'm not sure what I'm hinting at, but Jonathan interrupted him, and I will uncover the truth. Jonathan rushed home to find Lily burning with fever, her small body racked with misery, while Margaret gently pressed cool cloths to her forehead. In mere hours, they found themselves in the emergency room, where doctors rushed to order blood work and initiate IV fluids. Did she consume something strange? The doctor inquired. New drugs, home essentials? Absolutely nothing, Jonathan insisted. We tread lightly, yet as the doctor outlined the potential causes, Jonathan's fear solidified into a chilling reality. He pulled out his phone, dialing his head of security with urgency. Sweep the penthouse, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. I own every food item, every drink, and the security footage from the last week. No, everything. By morning, Lily was better, and the results had arrived. Evidence of a prescription drug lingers in her system, a medication meant for anxiety, yet notorious for its dangerous effects on children. The very medication Harrison swallowed each day. The security footage shattered Jonathan's hopes. In a fleeting moment, Harrison stood in the kitchen, secretly adding something to the container of Lily's beloved hot chocolate mix. His uncle, his mentor, the one who had nurtured him, had callously poisoned his own daughter. Jonathan gazed out his office window, the rain cascading over Manhattan, each drop a whisper of longing. A nightmare unfolded over the last 48 hours. Lily's frantic trip to the emergency room, the shocking revelation of medication in her system, and the haunting security footage that exposed Harrison's unimaginable betrayal. Lily was home, joyfully immersed in art with Margaret, oblivious to the shadows closing in. Jonathan fortified his penthouse, swapping out all food and deploying guards to watch every entry point. The intercom buzzed, shattering the silence. Mr. Reed, your uncle has arrived. Send him in, Jonathan said, his gaze fixed on the window. The door swung open, and Harrison stepped in, radiating his usual confidence. Jonathan, why are you dodging my calls? I've been swamped. Jonathan turned, eyes locked on the man who raised him, hunting for traces of the monster capable of poisoning a child. Harrison stood there, a picture of perfection, impeccably dressed, composed, and radiating authority. Lily's feeling better, I presume? Significantly improved. Her sudden illness left the doctors in shock. Jonathan approached his desk, locking the office door with a button, waiting for the moment they discovered benzodiazepine in her system. Take your medication, Harrison. In an instant, Harrison faltered. But just as swiftly, he regained his poise. What a tragedy. Children explore every corner, leaving chaos in their wake. We have footage, Jonathan cut in icily, of you adding something to her hot chocolate mix. The very blend she knew before the darkness fell. Silence loomed between them, an abyss of unspoken words. Harrison's face turned steely, his facade crumbling into cold logic. You've lost everything, he whispered at last. This domestic experiment started as fun, but now it's threatening everything we've created. You poisoned my daughter, Harrison said, his hand flicking away the accusation. A precise amount, just enough to hint at turmoil within the walls. Silence. Void. Emptiness. A heavy weight hangs in the air. Forever. Jonathan's throat tightened, a bitter surge clawing its way up. Why not? You're granting her the Reed fortune's legacy. My life's work, forged over decades, all for you. Was it all just about the money? Jonathan's voice soared. You almost took a child's life for cash. Stop being dramatic. It was all about control. Harrison insisted. It's time to face the truth. This paternal fantasy was a mere distraction, but making her a Reed alters everything. It alters nothing in your reality. Harrison's laughter was icy, cutting through the silence. Does it not? Whispers of your divided focus ripple through the board. You're placing a child, an outsider, as the heir to an empire she never helped create. What unfolds for what I leave behind? Your legacy, Jonathan spat, revulsion clear in his voice. Did taking a child from her father define that legacy? Stealing Caroline's words? 6 years apart from my daughter? I did what I had to do, Harrison insisted. She could have shattered it all. You were unprepared. You had no right to decide that. Your life has been shaped by my choices alone. Harrison rose abruptly, his calm shattering. I uncovered investment opportunities, connected you with the right people, and removed every obstacle in your way. I shaped your very essence. No, Jonathan, she whispered. You shaped me into your vision. Alone, consumed by power. You know nothing of love. Harrison's gaze sharpened. Emotion is a vulnerability, a lifelong burden. No, you're mistaken. Lily empowers me. She is the reason this all holds meaning. She is the reason this all holds meaning. Jonathan's hand trembled as he opened the desk drawer, pulling out a folder that held secrets waiting to be unleashed. Here are the latest corporate documents. Our partnership is no more. Your shares are safe, but you've been cut from operations in the board. Starting now. Harrison's face burned with fury. This can't happen. This company is my creation. You poisoned a child, Jonathan said, his voice steady but heavy with accusation. You wouldn't even think of filing charges. The scandal would shatter Reed Investments. Challenge accepted. Jonathan's voice cut through the air like a blade. Family is everything, Harrison, but you've lost your place in mine. The older man gazed at the papers, a lifetime of deceit unraveling in an instant. His hand shook as he made the mark. You'll feel the weight of every moment. You'll regret this, Harrison said, standing to go. When the excitement fades away, as the sacrifices mount, when you grasp what you've sacrificed for a child who isn't even... Shh, mine, Jonathan interrupted, his voice sharp. In every way that counts, you'll never grasp this. As Harrison reached for the door, he shot a final venomous smile over his shoulder. We'll see how fatherhood fits you when the child discovers the truth, that her father abandoned her mother, leaving them to fight while he chased his empire. She knows the truth already, Jonathan said. Everything. She has forgiven me. That's the essence of true family. Once Harrison was gone, Jonathan collapsed into his chair. Decades of burden vanished as he faced his past and embraced his future, a future pulsating with Lily's essence. Whatever trials awaited, they would confront them side by side. Spring burst into New York City, igniting transformation in the landscape, and within the Reed family. Cherry blossoms painted Central Park in soft pink clouds, seen from the windows of the brownstone Jonathan had claimed in the Upper West Side. A home that embraced the warmth of childhood, unlike his stark penthouse. In 3 months after Harrison's final departure, everything had shifted. Lily's new name echoed in the room. Lily Anderson Reed, forever changed, forever loved. Margaret's health had finally steadied, allowing her to embrace her role as a grandmother, free from the relentless grip of illness. Jonathan found a fragile harmony between work and family, a feat that once felt unattainable. Today was unforgettable. 1 year ago, a little girl selling cookies altered his destiny forever. Daddy, the flowers are perfect, Lily exclaimed from the garden, her hands delicately arranging white lilies in a simple vase. She wore a sundress, the hue of her namesake flower, auburn hair dancing in the breeze. Jonathan lingered in the kitchen doorway, breathless, captivated by the sheer wonder of her being. They forged a bond in grief, visiting Caroline's grave on meaningful days, laying fresh flowers and sharing echoes of their shared past. Today marked the first visit since Harrison's betrayal was exposed and erased from their lives. Margaret stepped into the garden, her cane a steady companion in her determined stride. She carries your fire, Jonathan said, a smile breaking through the tension. And it seems I have a knack for numbers. Lily carried the essence of both her parents within her. Caroline's vibrant spirit intertwined with Jonathan's sharp intellect and deep resolve. She was a singular force, a radiant soul who rose intact and loving from the shards of her past. Initially doubtful, the Reed Investments board now stood in awe as Jonathan's bold reorganization transformed the company's fate, silencing all dissent. Harrison had fled to his estate in Connecticut. His power waned, yet his wealth remained unscathed. Jonathan sacrificed to shield Lily from the looming scandal. Lily strode ahead, her confidence cutting through the somber air of the cemetery. At her mother's grave, she placed a drawing. A family portrait, meticulously crafted. Margaret, Jonathan herself, and a smiling figure, guardian-like, watching from a cloud. "I made this for you, Mommy," she whispered, sliding the drawing beneath the vase of lilies. "We stand united, bound by our shared journey." Jonathan knelt beside his daughter, his heart heavy with unspoken words. Caroline's name glimmered in the sunlight on the stone. Caroline Elizabeth Anderson, cherished mother, devoted daughter, inspiring teacher. Your heart races as the truth unfolds, each moment heavy with unspoken words. The air thickens with tension, and every glance ignites a spark of longing. In this fleeting instant, everything changes, leaving you breathless and yearning for more. "Mom would be so proud of you," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "You're aware of that, aren't you?" Lily nodded, her small face grave. "Grandma claims she's always with us. Is that really the case?" "I do," Jonathan said, his certainty catching him off guard. "She united us, despite you and Mommy not being together when I came into this world." In hushed tones, they pondered the complexities of love, how it rarely followed a straight line, how adults faltered, and how fate could tear apart those who truly cared. "Life twists in ways we can't foresee," Jonathan said, "yet real bonds always return to one another. Your mother ensured our paths would cross, even in her absence." Lily paused, then faced her father, determination in her eyes. "I'm relieved you discovered me, despite the long wait." "Me too, Professor. Beyond your wildest imagination." They lingered at Caroline's grave, Lily recounting school tales, while Jonathan shared fleeting memories of their time with her. Margaret brushed away tears, but they were no longer filled with bitterness or loss. They embraced the stunning bond of this unexpected family, forged from shattered pieces. Just before they departed, Lily embraced the headstone tightly, her heart heavy with unspoken words. "Thank you for my daddy," she breathed into the silence of her mother's absence. "I'm looking after him just as you wanted." Jonathan fought against the tears welling in his eyes. Caroline's final letter urged Lily to care for him, a poignant gesture of forgiveness and hope from a woman who had every reason to harbor resentment. "I have news," Margaret said, her voice trembling as they approached the car. "The doctor just declared me in remission." Jonathan held her tightly, a wave of raw relief crashing over him. "That's incredible. So, are you truly okay now?" Lily inquired, her expression lighting up. "It means the medicine worked," Margaret said, her voice trembling with relief. "I'll tread lightly, but yes, it's a vast improvement." In the car, Lily drifted into a deep sleep, her head resting against her grandmother's shoulder, tranquility enveloping her after the poignant visit. Jonathan navigated the city streets with caution, stealing glances at Margaret in the rearview mirror. "You've transformed," she noted softly, "from the man Caroline once spoke of." "I hope so," Jonathan whispered, a flicker of hope in his eyes. "I strive to earn their love, for both mean everything to me." Margaret's nod was heavy with contemplation. "Caroline would be proud of the father you've become, unexpected yet undeniably right." Home at last, Jonathan cradled the sleeping Lily in his arms. Her room a constellation of warmth, with window seats and evolving bookshelves, pulsed at the center of their new home. Gently tucked her in, fingers grazing a strand of hair from her serene face. On her bedside table lay 3 precious items: the photograph of Jonathan and Caroline that unveiled their bond, the star charm bracelet he gifted her for Christmas, and a small tattered book of poetry that held Caroline's heart. In this tiny sanctuary, time converges, past, present, future, crafted for a child who unknowingly rescued him from a hollow existence. "Rest easy, my star," he murmured, the nickname flowing effortlessly between them. In the hallway, Jonathan halted, overwhelmed by the shift in his existence. The walls, once adorned with costly art, now bore Lily's drawings, family photos, and marks of her growth. The home resonated with life. Margaret's soft hum in the kitchen, the distant tick of the grandfather clock from their weekend adventure, an orchestra richer than any deal made in the boardroom. Decades of toil for wealth, only to find his true treasure on a sidewalk. homemade cookies, and a mother's forgiveness tucked away in her pocket. "Thank you, Caroline," he whispered, to the woman who loved him enough to keep the door ajar, guiding him home after a decade and a fateful meeting. Jonathan Reed discovered that some fortunes transcended the value of money.